city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC Experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience Mastermind, where purpose is found.
Woo, Lancelot, good morning, man. I get hyped up every time I hear that song.
Yeah, you produced the hell out of that song, man. You are the super producer. Nobody got
I don't know,
nothing on
man.
you.
Because every time I listen to it, I'm like, man, whoever put that together did a good job, and I forget it was me.
That's right. Yeah, no doubt. I give props where props is due, man. You the
Appreciate
super
it.
talented, bro. Super talented. And that new one, the leadership, unified leader,
I'm
that's
gonna play
another
that
powerful
today.
one. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna play that one today. You like that
You,
one?
you are a super producer for real. Ain't
I
nobody got
appreciate
nothing
you,
on
man.
you, bro. Nothing on you.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that. So listen, today we have an exceptional human being who's gonna come and help us share what the topic today is what we've learned from going to so many events, but then we decided to create our own. So let's go ahead and bring her on. Renee, welcome to New York City
Yay! Sister
Mastermind.
Renee in
Good
the house.
morning.
Good morning, Don. How you doing? How's it out there
Awesome.
in Texas? I know, is it hot?
It is always hot in
Hot,
Texas.
yes, yes, yes. Hey,
Yes,
it's
yes.
raining out here. I mean, I think it rained every day this entire summer, it feels like, but
Ooh,
rain makes the flowers grow, so
that's right.
See?
We need it. We
Activity.
we
need it.
need
That's it.
rain.
That's it.
That's right.
So all three of us were at an event recently, and the first day of the event, we were there, and then it started pouring. And we're talking about rain, right?
Hmm.
It started pouring on us. And I saw so many people scrambling. And what did I do? I walked calmly. I chilled. I said, it's only water. I'm not melting. I actually was enjoying the moment, right? And if you guys, uh, I went over and a lot of people were underneath the covering, and I stayed outside just
It's
talking to
wonderful.
you guys. I know I was talking to you guys, and I was getting rained on, but it felt so beautiful. And sometimes we forget to appreciate the little things that we run away from. No,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. I would agree, Sifu.
I,
I think when it started to rain, you have the choice is, okay, do I run for cover or do I experience it? And so at that moment, I thought, well, I can run or I can just kind of like walk. And so, yes, I walked to the covering and it was different than how I would move normally. And it made me think about how do I appreciate this experience? What are you learning from, the rain? There's pieces that we can't control. Thank God we can't control the rain, right?
mm,
But when we do experience it, there are these moments that we learn from that. And that's what I appreciated about how you started off with the rain because it made me think about that experience and what are we learning from those drops, those nuggets that happen when we have no control over it.
ooh, I
sure,
never
sure.
quite heard it broke down like that. So, all right. So I did what most people do, and that is ran for cover as soon as it rained. As you raining on my outfit, I done paid all this money for, what I mean?
Yes.
But the natural instinct is to run. It's just like a lot of people run from what's good for them. I spoke Friday about silence. A lot of people run from silence, when in actuality, you find great things within silence, and there's great things within rain. Now, it's only an outfit. Rain is natural. Rain waters. We speak about how rain takes care of the soil, and when you plant those seeds, it's responsible for helping you grow underneath. But it's about stepping back and taking the time to really think about what you're experiencing, as opposed to running from it. And it
Mm,
goes back to silence, stillness. We run from
Mhm.
it. But if we take the time to experience it, we realize how important it is to be silent and take that time out for ourselves. So I'm equating running from the rain similar to running from silence. And we need to understand how powerful it is just to sometimes experience nature, experience the rain as it trickles down on our bodies and warm, because it was hot as hell out there. So it actually, it actually warmed us up, at the same time. So that's my thought as I sit back and truly analyze rain and what happened to us on that day.
Absolutely. And you were referring to, when you spoke on Friday, you were part of the Unified Leadership Summit. And what an incredible summit that was, right?
Yes.
Because we we understand what we learned by going to summits, by going to events, by going to even parties, by going to gatherings, meetups. Lancelot and I, anybody who's in the New York vicinity, join us September 19th. We're
Yeah.
hosting at Everdeen, which is at the Virgin Hotel on 30th and Broadway.
Beautiful.
And there's no charge for this. You just come and you pay for your own drinks and food if you want. And the cool thing is that we have learned so much along the way. And one thing that you talked about, oh man, I don't want to get my outfit messed up or anything. But guess what takes care of an outfit that gets messed up? How do you clean the outfit? You need water. You need the water. Right. So,
True that.
right. So when we think about everything we've learned, I've been to thousands of events. I've been going to events since 19.
Damn.
Okay, I'm going to date
I'm
myself.
sorry.
You ready? You ready? You ready? So I've been going to events since 1984, just a little while ago, right?
Just a little.
1984,
Uh,
just a little while. And every event taught me something. One, it taught me what to do, what not to do.
I
And three, it taught me how to connect at a deeper level. So if we think about events and what we learned, those are some of the things that I noticed. What would you say some of the things that you've been to so many events yourself, both of you, Renee and Lancelot? What are some key takeaways that you say, wow, I wish I missed this part of the event or I missed that part, without naming an event, but say, oh, this was not my cup of tea, or this was exactly what I needed at the time.
well, I'll start it off by saying, first of all,
Wait,
I
Renee,
haven't been.
you muted, Renee. You can unmute the whole time. Go ahead.
All right. So I'll start off by saying I haven't been to that many events. Oh no, well, I've been to a lot within a year period, because I've only been doing this a little over a year. So I've had an opportunity to go to several different online as well as in-person events. And I find the most stimulating part of those events for me is the connection with the people. I find that one of the most exhilarating experiences every time I get a chance to meet and really truly connect with somebody that I might have known, but then we take the opportunity to really get to know one another outside of business, but just who we are as individuals. And I find each time I learn to connect in a better way. I learn to ask better questions. I learn to really engage in what really allows somebody to expose who they truly are. Because a lot of that has to do with the person they're talking to, how they're
Mhm.
paying attention, what are they saying back to them, and I find that I've had these, just like last week, the last one we went to, I found the connection part of it exhilarating. Now, in regards to some of the other things, I could do without, you know what I'm saying? And I learned from those situations what not to do. But the one thing I do know to do is to continue to cultivate and co-curate events that allow people to connect in the most highest form. Because through those connections, we'll build businesses, and build connections that will last a lifetime. So I would say the connections are the one thing I've learned to continue to grow with. And then I would say that there's other things that I've learned not to do. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so happy that we have created our own events so that we can
Mm.
continue to grow and develop and co-create and cultivate the kind of atmosphere that is so powerful you can't help but grow. You know what I mean? So you learn from other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. Renee, you can go ahead and unmute.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Such powerful nuggets, Lancelot, always. When I think about the numerous events that I've been to, and actually been through, because sometimes if you go to an event not with the right intention, you're just basically going through the experience and you're missing all of the things that are going on around you. And you mentioned a very important part, which was about connection with people. Earlier on, when I was attending events, that was a piece that I completely discounted the importance of, because my mindset was on what am I going to get from this? What's the value to me? I'm going for work. Oh, I need to have something to take back for this. I need to get this. And so it was almost the mentality of going to the grocery store. You have a shopping list and you're picking up things on your list, you're putting it into your basket. And when you have that mentality or mindset, you're missing these moments. We started off with the raid, and when we, if we have that mentality of just checking off the list, we're missing what's happening in the moment. So the events that we have now, it's taught me the power of connection. And even earlier on in my career, when I thought about connecting, it meant, well, let's exchange business cards. What do you do? And the thought is, are you valuable to me? And I would notice the interaction where someone's sizing me up in 15 seconds. Am I worth their time? And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm more than a title. And that's why I had this aversion to networking, because I thought it's superficial. It doesn't really get to the core of who you are. And the events that we are now putting on, those are the ones that the connection is deeper than the surface. If you want to know what someone's title is or what they do, look them up on LinkedIn. But when you have the opportunity to have this amazing individual in front of you, why not understand their story? Because you will miss gold by not understanding where that experience comes from. So the mindset is making sure that you're going into the room, into the experience with the right mindset. If you're going to, you're going to check off your box, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get something, but you're going to miss the complete experience. But when you go with the mindset of what am I going to receive from this experience, but then also what am I bringing to the experience, because it should be a give and take with expectation, but also sharing.
Mm,
Amen.
I love that. Lancelot, you talked about doing both virtual and in-person events.
Yes.
And you were one of our speakers, and Renee, you've been a speaker both at our live and in virtual event. When I say live, the virtual is also live, it's just virtual, but the other in-person event, so you've been to both. And if you notice the events that we curate, they're very different than most events, even the virtual ones. Because I've been to 1,000 virtual events and it's all one person speaking at you, not teaching you anything sometimes. Sometimes they're teaching, sometimes they're incredible and they're really good at it. But the engagement, I believe, is different than the one that we curated this past Friday for Unified Leadership Experience, the summit, right? And what I want to give everybody when I said, Lancelot, I have this idea of what I want to create. And once I went through the whole concept with you, you're like, I'm in, I'm in. And that was just that was actually in-person events. And now I've ventured into the virtual events and I've created the similar idea of more of a touch base where people feel connected to the people. So here we had a conversation last night, a couple of us from the virtual event, and everybody said, "Oh my God." At first I thought it's a 7 hour event. Maybe it's 8.5 hours, almost 9 hours.
That's
I don't know if I'm even going to be awake for it. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. And yet people didn't want to leave when it was over. They're like, oh my God, it's over. I don't want to leave. They were so engaged into everybody who spoke. Nobody was doing this or like, let me check my phone or let me check that. Nobody was doing that. And the engagement was 1,000% active. And that is, I think, what makes our events so different. That the people that we bring, they're vetted. Every speaker is vetted. We don't just put somebody on a stage or on our platform because they're a speaker or they're a presenter or they're famous. Because you know what? If the message doesn't land for everybody in the room, then we have an issue. And so for us, yeah, not. And one of the speakers even said, "Listen, I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I am who I am." And I got to tell you, she to me was an incredible speaker. And I'm talking about Amy Mikowski, and the woman is just powerful. And when we think about the speakers that we bring, everybody, like I said, is vetted. Everybody knows the what we expect from the venue, and everybody over delivers. And you even saw that in Tampa, and you saw it at the virtual event we just had on Friday. What is your take on all that I just said?
uh if I may, you know what? I keep jumping in. Ladies first, and then I will go. Go ahead, Renee, and then I'll
Oh,
go.
well, it's actually hard to explain, but the shift came for me in Tampa. It reprogrammed or redefined my expectation from an event. It's not just showing up, it's the intention. So that was my first opportunity to be a speaker on this particular platform, and it was amazing because I noticed that there was this intentionality of connection with everyone in the room. It wasn't just about the individual. And so it was the like energy attracting the other energy in the room.
Mm,
That's what I noticed. The same piece in the virtual platform is there were so many different speakers, styles, powerful expertise but there wasn't this competition of let me one up, let me, do this. It
Mm.
was complementary. That was one of the pieces that I really appreciated because I'm getting fed in different ways, completely unexpected ways that you don't even acknowledge or even think about. And so it was so much
Hi,
more
Kim.
than what I expected. Kimberly, hi, Kimberly.
Good
Glad you're.
morning.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for chiming in and joining us today. And when you have an opportunity to be in one of these, it's a life-changing experience. And I don't just say that because I was a part of the experience. I truly believe that every single event I've been to, it has changed the way that I think. As much as I think I know, I learn so much more. And that's the expectation is I can't wait to experience what I'm going to learn from Lancelot and Sifu. Even though I've heard y'all so many times, I can't wait because I know the room is going to bring out a different, a unique, something great that I hadn't heard before. So I get excited each time. It's leadership done differently, but more intentionally.
Mm.
That's beautifully said, Renee.
Absolutely.
And I want to say the room is based off of the intention of the curator. And I think one of the things that really impresses me about Sifu is that he constantly tries to step up the bar to make the experience of the people that he's serving, the people that will be in the room. He's always constantly looking to make the experience better. It's not about making money, it's about making the experience better. How do I know that? Because
Mm.
it's the proof is in the pudding. And what do I mean by that? I've been to a lot of events, and events are structured very similar. People come in and I don't know, there's a feedback going on,
Mm.
but keep going. Uh, People come in and you have a speaker, people listen, then you have another speaker, people listen, and there's great nuggets to be had with that. But when you try to step up the experience, as a curator, you're constantly trying to make sure that everybody gets as much and as much as they can out of the experience. He then said, okay, well, we're going to have each speaker speak, but then we're going to have everybody chime in and ask questions, including the audience, not just the audience, but also the speakers, so that the experience is that more in tune. The experience pulls out that many more nuggets because now you're talking about, or the person gives the presentation, but then we're asking questions. I have not been a part of anything like that before. So it was like he sat down, got in the lab, and was like, how do I make this experience that much better as a leader? And he came up with this, and I thought it was brilliant. My apologies. I had to apologize. 8 hours just getting back from being out of town for 3 weeks. I couldn't possibly use all those 8 hours because I had clients. But from the time I was there, I was engaged, and it didn't seem like as many hours. Before you know it was like 4:30, and that's because we were engaged in conversation. We were going backwards and forwards, trading information and thoughts and ideas, and it made me think of things differently than I would have thought of them if we hadn't had that opportunity to just discuss it. So I think that's the difference. And what I love about the rooms that we're creating is each one we try to elevate, not to try to make more money, but to try to elevate in terms of experience. And that to me is special.
That's one of the things that I learned from going to so many events. One of the things that I noticed, I was at an event where I actually sat down with Robert Kiyosaki, if you know who he is, and Donald Trump.
I
Just the
know who
three of
he
us.
is.
just the three of us were sitting at a table. And this is when Donald Trump was trying to sell his university. And both he and Robert Kiyosaki were partnered up for this particular event. And they sat down with me because they were trying to sell it to me. But there was something fishy about it. Something didn't click for me. So I kind of, I said, thank you, but no. But the fact that I was at this event and while they were sitting there, all they did was sell, 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 sell. And they were great. I got to tell you, they were amazing. But prior to that, when I was at the full event and there was a huge stage, place was mobbed, and it was one seller after the next seller after the next. Oh, did I say seller? I meant speaker. Or did I say seller? Because all they did was talk about how great they are and how you need to do business with them, and then go buy my product and buy my product. There's only 5 spots left, 10 spots left, 20 spots left. That's it. We're going to sell out. And boom. And people were doing the mad rush to the back of the room, and they were doing all these things. But when it came down, I didn't learn anything. I didn't take anything away, except what I did take away was I never want to go to an event like this again. Because, yes, there were a couple of nuggets in the room that I gathered. But in reality, it was a sales fest. I paid money to be there, and I paid a lot of money to be there. Imagine at the time, he wasn't even running for president, right? But what wound up happening is he was a salesman. He already had his empire. He owned Jacob Javits Center at that point. Kiyosaki, another huge person, and they curated the space to be able to sell and make more money. And all their main purpose was money, 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 money. And everybody on the stage was money, 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 money. And I felt there was a lull in the room because it was, and I said I went with a friend of mine and I said, watch. Oh, you're enjoying this? He's like, yeah. I said, wait, it's coming. He goes, what's coming? I said, the sales pitch. And for the next 20 minutes, all it was a sales pitch. Maybe they spoke for 5 minutes or 10 and gave you something, but the next 20 minutes was a sales speech, and it was every single speaker. And we were there from 8 in the morning till 6 in the afternoon, and it was like that with every speaker. And I said, wow. I said, I never want to go to an event like that. But I have been to other events that are similar, yet not so much. So what I've learned from it is nobody wants to pay money to go get sold more. Anybody here want to pay to be sold more?
Well, I wouldn't say nobody, because there's a bunch of people filling up stadiums.
Yeah.
That's just not the kind of thing we want. But there's a
Right.
whole market for people that are selling. So there's a lot of people that need to be sold to, but that's not the market we are. We're really trying to, change people and help people be leaders for real. You know what I mean? But it's a definite market for that, because that's why them places is filled with people.
Yeah. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday, and they said, come to my 5-hour event. It's only $1,500, and that's a discount because normally it's $3,500. And I said, really? So I sent them the link to our event. Our event is just phenomenal when we think about the value that people get from coming to our events. And we have had people say, oh, Sifu, all he wants to do is make money. We didn't make any money in Tampa at all. And it's like you said, Lancelot, it's not about the money. It's about the change that we're doing, right? So our tickets are not super crazy expensive. And the reason we did that is because if we want to change the world, that's what you and I collaborated on when we first sat down to discuss this, we said, we want to change the world, and how do we do it? And so we figured it out, and we're doing it.
Absolutely. One or two individuals at a time. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yep. Living in your purpose. That's the key. And not letting anything persuade you. And it's nothing wrong with making money. All of
No,
us want to make money, but it's a way to do it in a way that keeps you in your purpose, and we're figuring it out and doing that. And that's the most important thing, because you want to get paid for your expertise, but at the same time you want to be able to build a coalition of people, of like-minded people who are benefiting from developing together and developing through the nuggets that we drop at our different events. So
yeah, absolutely. When we think about what we've learned and what we're building, we're still learning. Uh, I will never stop learning. You will never stop learning. I know Renee will never stop learning. And when we think about every experience, and you brought it up also, that we try to make it better. I mean, Tampa was phenomenal. Oof. Wait till you see what we have packed for Atlanta. Atlanta is going to be different, but yet similar, because we don't want to get rid of the things that are working, but we want to expand on it, right? And one of the things that we are doing is, we're not going to have a speaker after a speaker after a speaker. We're going to have a speaker, we're going to have a mastermind, a speaker, a mastermind. And then we're curating spaces, because the masterminds really happen when people are breaking bread together. So the VIP gives you a dinner experience on Friday, and it gives you a dinner experience on Saturday, and it gives you a lunch experience on Saturday. And there sometimes is where the deep conversations happen, where people let go of their guard. This is why it's so important, I believe, to break bread with another person.
mhm, mhm. I actually like that, because I didn't know the idea behind how we were going to do it yet, but I like the idea of having a speaker and then possibly discussing and breaking down through a mastermind what that particular speaker spoke about, so that each speaker is dissected and we get a great deal of information that we walk away with that is helpful based off of the interaction of everyone. And I think it's almost like having when you're studying for a test, but you have a bunch of people that study for one test and they help each other out. That's what that
Mhm.
feels like. I think that's the actual brilliant idea. I really do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one
Because
of
a
the
lot of
pieces
times,
that I
go for it.
appreciate. Sorry, Sifu. That's one of the pieces that I really appreciated about the virtual summit, was the opportunity afterwards to really absorb what was happening. Because sometimes there's this piece where you go from one speaker to the next speaker, and then you don't have that time to
Right.
sit with the ideas and really process that. And as a person who loves to learn and grow, I think that is a powerful way to do that, because now you've taken in your pieces of that presentation as the presenter, but then also the person who is consuming that, and now being able to hear collectively how it's landing. And so that's
Yes.
where the real learning begins,
Yes. Yes.
when we're
Absolutely.
talking about how those pieces hit and how do we apply those things. So it really, in a sense, learner and facilitator, it takes it to that next
Next
level
level.
that we can only
Absolutely.
hope. Because a lot of times we write stuff down and we hope it will make a
Mm,
difference beyond the
Right.
room, but we actually had the opportunity to apply it, to connect it. And so if you do that immediately, you're helping to ensure that that knowledge, that information stays with you versus
Yes. Yes.
in and
Yes.
out. So that was powerful. So I hope that is one of those pieces. And I think you mentioned that that'll be for Atlanta. because
Yeah.
I look forward to sitting with it and marinating on it in the moment, not having
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
wait until that evening or the next day and hope that I hold what I learned.
Mm.
You know, and as a presenter, I see it as if I spoke and then we broke down like we did on Friday, I become a better speaker because now I understand how it's landing and what I can tweak and do to make it better. Because my whole ultimate goal is to be that speaker on the level of Tony Robbins and the rest of them. So anytime I get an opportunity to have a mirror put in front of my face in terms of how the presentation's going and people, what are people getting out of it, and I could tweak it, that's a great opportunity, not just for the audience, but for the speaker itself, because that makes you a better speaker because of the feedback that you're getting. So this is a brilliant idea where, and I see Kim does that, or she does that already, which for you, Kim, bravo to you, because I think that is a tremendous way of making an impactful event more impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. When we think about the evolution, right, of events, think about if you see an old footage of an event and a phenomenal speaker like Tony Robbins or anyone else who's ever been on a stage, say 40 years ago, even, they may have had a projector back in the projector was shooting out, or maybe they didn't have slides because there was no computers the way we have them now. So they might have had like one of these, and you see this thing on the wall or a screen, and they use those in order to be able to clarify something they were talking about. Or bless you, they may be had props, right? So everybody, if you think about it, you are the prop, right? When you're speaking, you are the person. It's also how we use our hands, how we use our verbal skills, the words we use, the tonality, every little aspect of speaking is what makes you a better speaker. And a lot of times back in the day, people were looking at, yes, every event has its own personality. Yeah, correct, Amelia. And thank you for having us at your event this past the weekend before. That's why we created our own style. Absolutely. So when you think about every speaker, how they present is unique to them. So I'm encouraging everybody who is either going to be a speaker at our event or any event to adapt your own style. And it's okay to look at other people, but don't necessarily follow exactly what they're doing because all of a sudden you lost you. You're no longer unique. So think about that, right? Uh, Thank you, Emilio. We do love New York City Experience as well. And I remember the time that you came in and you were such a powerhouse. You took videos and pictures and all that, and you shared it with everybody. And that was at Avenida, right? And Lancelot, remember that spot? You and I went there.
We
So one of
never
the
went
things
back
that
though.
we do, well, everything teaches us something, right?
Right.
Is the venue good? Because sometimes you go to a venue and they promise you the world.
Yeah, the
You
world,
get
don't give
there,
you
and the world is this tiny,
this
right?
big. That's right.
And so, but we learned, right? So every time now we go and we ask different questions, and
Questions. Yeah.
that's one of the things that what we've learned is when we take a look at a venue, we ask different questions to make sure that we get to facilitate the way we want to
You want
facilitate.
it. Yes.
And you just did a trip with Brennan Brand with Michael, and you went to take out of Atlanta space
Yes.
that we're going to be curating. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that space?
Yes, we found three different locations within the same area to make the experience as unique and wonderful as possible based off the people that we have coming. So we at a winery, and the winery has two different levels. So we'll be in the winery for certain parts, and then we'll be upstairs in other parts for the mastermind. We also found a cigar bar, paying homage to all my cigar smokers like Jose and Michael, and I'm sure a bunch of people,
Mhm.
which is right down the street. In fact, around the corner, which is Cam Newton's cigar bar, which is a beautiful place where you have dinner. And if you want to smoke, you go upstairs. If you want to stay downstairs without the smoke. So for those people that don't smoke cigars, you don't have to, because I don't either. You don't have to be surrounded by the cigar smoke because the cigar smoke's upstairs, but the atmosphere for connecting
Mm.
is just fabulous. And then we have a Mexican restaurant that we'll be going to that we've already spoke to them. We have a whole space that they're providing for us, all within walking distance. So it won't be something where you have to go get in the car, go somewhere, and then get in the car and go. It's all within walking distance, which I thought and it's in Blueberry. I forget. It's right down the street from the
From the
Mercedes-Benz
arena.
Stadium, where the
Correct.
North Carolina they play. So
Mhm.
big shout out to To, who did a fabulous job of finding a space that would be able to encapsulate an entire experience within walking distance. So he's done, kudos to him. He's done a fabulous job, and it's going to be, first of all, with the people we have, we can be in somebody's basement and have an incredible time. But when you add that with all the different experiences within walking distance, this is going to be absolutely incredible. I already know it because I know some of the people that are going to be there already. And you couple that with all the different things that we'll be doing, the masterminds and all, knowing you and how we're going to cultivate this and curate this. It's going to be a fabulous experience. And I say, don't miss it. Don't.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love the fact that we're going to be able to walk to the places, but we're going to be in one location for all 3 days doing the events, and then we'll go for dinners. We'll do all these different things. And when you think about comfort, right? When we think about being in a place that it's going to feel good, the seating is important. The place is important. The atmosphere
Atmosphere.
is not just the seats, right? Because you can sit comfortably anywhere. You can go on a Long Island Railroad like you and I do sometimes when we go to New York City, and you can be comfortable in those seats. But it's not just the seating; it's the whole atmosphere. It's the vibe, if you will. And so somebody said to me, "You're doing a New York City experience in Atlanta? How is that possible?" And I said, we're not taking New York City to Atlanta. We're taking the experience of New York City to Atlanta. So the vibe, we're bringing the vibe that you and I, Lancelot, we know the vibe very well. New York City is a phenomenal, phenomenal place. And don't get me wrong, we're going to be bringing New York City experience back to New York as well. We're going to do it again at my facility. But think about the fact that we are constantly doing things. Every month, Lancelot and I hosting a free meetup in New York City. Now, could we charge for it? Absolutely. Why are we not charging? That's the question. So let me answer it for anybody who's saying, why are you guys not charging for it? Because I believe the connections that we're making, they pay dividends. They're high yield. And when you invest in people, you invest in long term. It's not a short sell. It's nothing of that nature. And I love what Renee, you talked about earlier, that you hate it when somebody just looked you up and down, looked at your card and said, huh, Renee, this is your card. Oh my goodness. yeah, you know what? I don't think we need to talk anymore because maybe you didn't fit into their how do I make more money? Meanwhile, they never spoke to you and realized that connecting with you, they're going to make a ton of money. But just, I threw that card away. Oh, here it is. I threw it away because I flicked it, right? But it is. It's somebody who says, okay, thank you for your card, and they put it in their pocket, right? Then they go home and they're looking through their their things and they're going, oh my God, look at all the cards I have. Um, which one is I don't remember. All right, I'll just throw them over here on the side, and there's no connection. This is why we do it differently. And I know a lot of people have the QR codes, and here's my card on a QR code. Now we got technology, and I love those. But it still takes away from let's do a selfie. And the selfie is way bigger because when you send that selfie back to the person, you're in the card with them. Your phone number is attached with that image. Your email is attached with that image. So there's something to be said about the way we do connections compared to here, scan my QR code, or here's my bracelet, which those are very cool, by the way. Here's my scan my bracelet, and then I don't have to think about it. But you know what happens when somebody goes through their phone? When they have 1,000 contacts or 200 contacts or 10,000 contacts, they don't know which contact came in with that QR code. And if they don't remember you, they're going to go, who is this person? And it's just an image of them. It's not an image of you in them. And the power is you being in their phone with them. They will remember you better because there was a connection.
Sifu, you are so right about the connection. I made all of those mistakes in earlier conferences. I was the card collector of all the things, and you want to tell yourself, "Oh, I'm going to come back to it later, or I'll follow up," and you never do. And it's a decoration, and you hold it until you eventually throw it in the trash. Unfortunately, then the QR codes. I went to a conference and I was so excited, but everybody had a different QR code and it scanned to a different platform. I don't know where those names are now, but the ones that I do know where they are when the ones I took the selfie and immediately made that connection. And I will honestly say that has created a discipline of follow up because now you have pictures and oh, I remember who this is versus trying to think, who was this? Was this person? Were they responsible for that? So it creates a visual connection, but then also it helps you remember the moment that you met them because there was an outfit. Maybe there was something in the background that reminded you of when they connected. And I see Kimberly is on the screen, and I remember connecting with her, and it will be memorable when we met in Virginia Beach. And I will always remember that moment of meeting her and connecting with her at the meeting after the meeting with, I mean,
Right?
if y'all haven't been to one, you just always VIP experience. You always want to do that. That was something that I never did. Who wants to do VIP? Let me just go ahead and get the basics. Well, if you miss the VIP experience, you are missing an opportunity to connect with some amazing people. Hi, Angeline. Another amazing
Angelina.
video.
Yeah, let me expound on that because you're absolutely right. Um, as an actor, I always watch human behavior. So
Mhm.
last week when we were or 2 weeks ago when we were at the Born and Risk event, and we were at the meeting after the meeting, there's about 30 of us, and we're sitting down at the table, and we're engaged in this incredible that there's just so many different conversations going on at the same time. It was beautiful to watch. So I sit back and I start watching the people outside the 30 to see how they're reacting to what they're seeing, because it's this energy and frequency and vibration that's going on that's incredible, because I feel it, as a person engaged in it. But I sat back to look at other people, and everybody in the restaurant was in their conversations, but they kept looking back, getting in that conversation, they kept looking back, trying to figure out or trying to feel or whatever the case may be, but they were attracted to the energy that was going on with these 30 people in the middle of the room. And that is what electricity is all about, because we're made of electrical currents, and that vibrational frequency, that's a real thing. And when you watch other people experience it, you understand what you are in. And it's so moving to be a part of something that dynamic. And it comes from really connecting on a real level. That is so important. It's so different from the superficial kind of, hi, what do you do? My name is so-and-so. When you connect for real and you engage yourself in real conversation to get to know somebody, it is one of the most wonderful experiences that you can have. And this is one of the reasons why I love going to these it's the mastermind. It's the after fact when you can really get a chance to meet somebody for real. And so that's my thoughts that just want to expound on what you were saying, Renee. The power of those connections.
Absolutely. And one of the things that you talked about earlier, Lancelot, was the school that we have created with Unified Leadership. Let me share that video with you guys. Take a look.
Your next level is waiting. Will you climb? We climb. Together.
We grow.
Together.
We lead.
Together.
Together.
Yeah, this is unified leadership. Purpose, character, conviction, wisdom, connection, impact. Together we become more. Bring your vision. Bring your fire. One community. One heartbeat. One mission. Keep climbing.
Keep growing.
Unified Leadership Academy.
Unified Leadership Academy.
Unified Leadership Academy. Stronger together.
One community. One future.
Join us.
On school soul.
Where leaders connect, where true leaders grow, where leadership never stands still.
Keep climbing. Climb higher.
Come on.
Keep climbing higher.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Higher and higher. So when you think about all the things that we continue to build, it's about leadership, right? Unified Leadership Academy on school is all about leadership. If you can believe it, yeah, keep climbing, because we're right now in the midst of creating 3 years of lesson plans for that community. 3 years of leadership lessons. And they're not going to be these little 5-minute things. They're going to be long lessons. They're going to be something impactful, something you can actually take and use in your business. So when you think about everything that we have been doing with New York City Mastermind Experience, Unified Leadership Experience, it's not experience, the academy, right? The school. It's all about how we lead ourselves. How do we connect with one another? How do we bring unity, if you will, to those who we're aligning with? So I also like to talk about the alignment of what we have learned, if you will, because I think the other thing that I've learned is that in order for things to happen, we need to align with the right people. And not everybody's going to be a cup of tea, right? So, did I connect with every single person at the event that we went to last time? No, I did not. Because I kind of came over and said hi, but they were somewhat dismissive. Maybe they were in a thought or something like that. And I said, you know what? That's okay. I can step back. And so I did not make some connections because they were not open to connecting. And I will give them the space if they're not open. And I'm okay with it. Thoughts?
Well, the other thing for me is, there's this unwritten rule that you try to spend 15 minutes with each individual in order to be able to get a chance to know everybody. But for me, it's so difficult once you get into a real conversation of connecting to just cut it off after 15 minutes. And I find myself with each conversation that I have, it can go a half an hour, and that half an hour feels like 15 minutes because you're having these engaging conversations. So it's very difficult to stay on the idea of 15 minutes here. You have to be very disciplined, and then it feels almost like you're not giving the connection an opportunity to flourish in what it could be because you're on a clock. So I didn't get a chance to meet uh, some of the people that were at the event, but those that I did have a conversation, wow, wow.
Yeah, agreed.
Like Renee and
Agreed.
I, we had a wonderful conversation. Carly, just the conversation. I had met Carly before, but we were never really engaged like that. I feel mad close to her now. Looking forward to working with her, and just a host of other people. But it's when you're connecting, sometimes it's very difficult to be on that time clock because real is real, and once you get into these real conversations, they don't have an expiration. It feels like you know what I'm saying.
I would
So,
agree with you, Lancelot, because it's not about the quantity of people that you connect; it's the quality of it. I would rather, in a room full of 50 people, I would rather have one or two really meaningful connections than have 50 surface connections. And that's the beauty of being in the room and really being intentional about connections. Yes, of course, more connections is better, but when you really get a meaningful connection, it starts and it opens up so many opportunities, and there's power in that. And I get excited every time I think about being in one of the spaces, whether it's virtual, whether it is in an actual physical room, because there's going to be some powerful connections that are happening there and beyond the room.
I love that you both brought that up because there are some people who are robotic. 5 minutes with this person, 5 minutes with this person, 5 minutes with this person. And all of a sudden, what are they doing? They're doing superficial connections. And I think anytime you start doing the superficial stuff, you will never go deep, like you said, Lancelot, and like you said, Renee. So sometimes, if we know we want to connect with somebody, I met Lancelot in 60 seconds, but it was the follow up that connected us deeper because we didn't have time. 60 seconds, quick introduction. I basically jumped on him and said, "We need to connect." He said, "Okay." And then he was gone, because he had somebody waiting for him. So he had to go. And he was making them wait longer than they should have. But I'm glad he did. I'm glad I caught him right before he left. But it's the follow up, right? So if you come across somebody like I came across Lancelot, and I knew I wanted to connect with him, I had a deeper connection with Lancelot, who I met for 60 seconds compared to other people that I spent 20, 30 minutes with. So it's the intention behind your connection,
Mm.
right? It's the intention. Do you want to stay connected to this person? Because if the conversation starts really great and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this person sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, wah, wah,
Wah,
wah,
wah, wah,
wah.
wah, wah.
And the reason is because all they're talking about is how awesome they are. And I try not to do that. I try to say, tell me about you, right? What's going great in your life? What's interesting? What are you doing? What are some of the changes that you've made in the past? So all these different things of how to engage somebody into a conversation not only helps you become a great speaker, but also a great listener. Because, and I'll say it 1,000 times over, I learn nothing when I speak. Yet some people, all they do is speak.
That's right. Well,
I know
I
we've
would
come to
say,
that time, right?
yeah. It's 101. But I would end by saying that look forward to those people that are going to be at the New York City Mastermind Experience in September. It's been curated to really, first and foremost, for you to learn uh, and come out of each speaker really understanding what has been delivered to you. And how we're doing that is we're having discussions as the mastermind on what has just been spoken to us, so that we delve in, dissect, so that we understand and take away incredible nuggets from each and every one of the speakers. And then the connection aspect of it after the meetings are going to be off the hook. Big shout out to my man T.O. Clay for getting out there, and I think it's Cherry Hill. I think that's the area, but it's a beautiful area. Cigar bar, winery, Mexican restaurant, all within walking distance of itself. It's going to be a blast, and I hope to see you guys there.
Absolutely. It's actually in Castleberry Hill.
Oh, Berry. I knew it was a Berry, Castleberry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the arts district. So think
Yes.
about that. It's a very artsy place. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
Yes.
yeah. And Renee is going to be one of our incredible speakers, but
Yes.
also she's not only just going to come and speak, she's going to be there to answer questions. She's going to be asking questions because we're going to have panels, we're going to have all kinds of different things of that nature. So the way we do things, I'm just going to say, listen, we got to toot our own horns once in a while. And I'm just going to say our experiences are different and they're unique. And Renee, in 30 seconds, you said in Atlanta, it was the best experience you ever went to. Tell us about that.
The virtual experience, the best experience I had was
Atlanta.
being Atlanta.
I'm sorry, Tampa. My
Tampa.
apologies. Tampa.
The best experience I had in Tampa was being in the room with some incredible powerhouse speakers and the connection. The connections were something that I never expected. Being able to meet so many people and from those connections have been more connections, not just knowing people, but having these connections that really move the needle, that matter, that are pouring into me, but then also give me the energy and the momentum to pour into others. So I would say if you are thinking about going, don't think anymore. Just go. Get in the room. It's the
That's it.
best
That's
decision you
it.
could have ever made.
All
Yeah.
right, guys.
So get in the room, people. We love you. We will see you
Yeah.
soon. Take care, everybody.
Have a great week, y'all. Take care.
Everyone who's in the room is all about giving. Everyone who show up here and who are in the room are just givers, and they just want everyone to become better and better entrepreneurs, better founders, better coaches, better givers. You are going to meet the best of the best in this room, and it's an intimate experience, right? Sometimes you go to events where there are hundreds or thousands of people, and here in the New York City Mastermind, it's an intimate experience. So you really get to know them. You get to know them as people and not as just a number that's out there. So I highly recommend New York City Mastermind to anyone.